Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. Negrosparty. What's up, my brother?
Tranquilo, manito, tranquilo.
How are you?
Tranquilo. Muy bien. You know, hanging in here, having a good time.
Yeah, so let's take it from the top. For anybody who don't know, who is Negrosparty? Where you from? What do you do? How you do it? And how long you been doing it?
Well, I think it depends, what's doing of all that I do. I think, for those who don't know me, first of all, my name is George Ruiz, better known as Negrosparty. I used to be a teacher. I'm a promoter, on-air personality, radio,
so let's start right
coach.
So hold on.
Which one do you want?
You used to be a teacher. That was your first profession?
So, yeah. You know what it is? I think the lack of knowledge kind of guided me to teaching, right? I don't know if you could relate to this, but in my household, there wasn't too much knowledge on what educational field somebody could go into. Okay. And I was really good with kids, so the only thing that I knew that was good with kids was, gotta be a teacher. So I went into teaching, and I was able to teach in Newark down here at Dr. William Horton.
Oh, Dr. Horton. Yeah. My sister really went there.
So
Dr. Horton. Okay, cool.
I was at Horton.
What study?
Yeah, so I was teaching bilingual math and science.
Cool. Okay.
And I did that for about. Well, I was a teacher at Horton for like about half a year, like 6 months. But before that, I was a program coordinator for Playworks, and I did Dr. Horton. I did what's his school in near? Damn, I forgot the name. I did that at another school, and then I was a teacher assistant at a behavioral school in Fort Lee for about 2 years. And I think working at Horton, one thing I will say, I'm probably where I am today because of the kids, because I've never been glorified like I was glorified in that school.
Kids, right?
Oh no, listen to me. Like I was coach. Like in that school, they used to call me Coach Awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I tell you, like I've never felt like a king, like until I walked into that school. Listen to me. I'm talking to you. Like these kids were like, they were like wild out with everybody. Coach Awesome was walking by.
Respect.
Oh man, yeah. It was like
that's wonderful.
And then you know what? I think that's also the reason how I kind of go into radio, because we used to have an activity on Thursdays that where I usually kind of I stayed away from like the books. Okay. And it was more of like a personal development with the kids. Like
one-on-one interaction.
Not necessarily one-on-one, but it was more like group activities where like icebreakers and stuff.
Right.
And in that one of those activities, we spoke about like how scary sometimes it is to talk about your dreams, right? And then one of the kids called me out, and he was like, "Oh, Coach Awesome, it's really easy for you to say because you're a teacher already." And in that moment, I was just kind of like, I actually always wanted to be on radio. And after that was the first time I had ever verbalized that. Like I had never in my life like verbalized it. And once I said it, it was almost like I was just haunting.
Epiphany.
Yeah, I was just haunting myself. I was like, yo, if I'm not on radio, what am I doing?
Yeah. So you wasn't truly happy. As much happiness as it brought you.
Exactly.
It wasn't your dream.
You know this? The kids would bring me happiness, but the work wasn't bringing me happiness. Yeah,
so it wasn't your initial dream.
Oh, listen to me. I give it up to any teachers who does this for a long period of time.
Teachers are definitely underpaid and underrated.
Underpaid, underappreciated, under a lot of expectations, under a lot of stress. Especially when your principal sucks. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's tough to wake up every day and go through that routine every single day. And then and it's difficult because sometimes you want to help, but then the system doesn't help you.
Don't let you.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, look, I had kids that were on the spectrum, and I was expected to have them perform as regular kids when everybody in the building knew that these kids was on the spectrum. So, you know what I mean? And to me, it was like bothering my soul, the fact that I was part of something that wasn't putting these kids in a position to win. So, and I think that's really what kind of led to me to leave, but by far the toughest decision was me leaving those kids. Cause look, I've never cried, yo. Like I cried like a baby, there's probably this video out there. Cause Tasha, she was the other bilingual teacher. She probably recorded me, but I was literally crying like a baby that day. Yeah, man, it was really tough. Cause
they were saying you had to do.
No, you know what it is, yo. I think it's sometimes we have expectations of people, but we can't keep those same expectations for ourselves. right? And for those kids, one of the biggest expectations that I always told them was that you need to do whatever makes you happy.
Whatever makes you happy.
Right?
No matter what that is.
And at that moment, I kind of just sat back and kind of almost like was the teacher to myself and was like, damn, nigga, you're talking a lot. You're talking a lot about, oh, you need to be happy and reach for your dreams.
You're not happy.
But what are you doing, you know? So it was almost like I have to do it, but like, damn, I don't want to do it. Because I also felt like I was like the only hope that they had in the building. It's tough.
Some people go in it just to get a check.
Exactly. And to be honest, yo, I hate saying this, but I get it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you go into professions because it works. It works for you, right? But I also think
it's like you can't get too attached, but sometimes you can't help but to get too attached. You know what I'm saying?
So listen to me. This is the one thing with teaching that I disagree. Right? There's a lot of teachers who say you shouldn't get attached to your kids. I think you should.
Yeah. But then you get too attached.
Think about it like this. Think about it like this, yo. We sleep if you get sleep, right? You sleep for 8 hours every day.
What is
right?
sleep? I don't know
right?
What that is.
I don't know what that is either. But if you do, right? You sleep for 8 hours every day, right? And then you go to work for another 8, right? That's already 16 hours of your day, right? And you're gonna tell me that you're spending a quarter of your day and you're not gonna have no sort of connection with the people who you're spending that time with?
Even at work, even at work.
To me, that sounds ignorant. How can you not feel some sort of like care for people who not only are gonna be making you laugh, who are not only gonna be making you mad, who are not you're gonna spend time to try to make sure that they progress? How are you gonna tell me that you're not gonna form a connection with them? Right. To me, that sounds crazy. You have to. It's part of it.
That's almost bound to happen.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Almost always happens.
So, I think that's one of the things that, like, in the teaching experience that I had is that, I think I appreciated the connection that I formed. Yeah. Listen, to this day, look, I coach now in Donald Payne Tech, the new high school right there off of Market.
Okay.
I coach baseball there, and to this day, I have kids who I haven't seen in like 2 or 3 years that will come up to me like, yo, Coach Awesome, how you doing? And I look at them and I have to sometimes like hit the reload button.
Yeah,
like,
wait. If they're calling you Coach Awesome, it's probably...
Oh no, exactly. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? That's the good thing. So it gives me a clue what school they're from. But sometimes to me it's kind of like, damn, like. I think my job was so well done there that even 3 years later, these kids recognize me. I
got a handful of teachers I remember in my school's experience, and that's because they have a strong impact. Either a bad one, I hate them like a motherfucker, or they have an impact with me. There's one teacher that I remember, my history teacher, and he'll just he'll say something, and you be like, what? You know what I'm saying? And then he'll, by the end of the day, have you understand what he meant by that? But it's just the way he taught it. He didn't just say, this is what it is, and this is the answer to what it is. He just give you like a life lesson about it, and it's just stuck with you. And those teachers like that you remember, they need to be applauded. They need to be recognized.
I know teachers like that need to be appreciated for the work that they do.
Of course, exactly. Yeah. So where did you grow up at?
Oh my God, bro! You're talking about. So
let's go back. So what's your nationality?
Well, you know what it is. So I'm Dominican, right? But I was born here. So to some people,
you was born in Jersey.
Yeah, I was born in Jersey. Okay. So some people are gonna fight that, right? They're like, oh, yeah, you're an American. To me, listen to me. I don't think you get as Dominican as I am. But that's besides the point. So I was born in Jersey City. But then I grew up in DR for a while. But before I grew up in DR, I lived in Massachusetts and I lived in Ohio.
Okay. Oh, so you traveled a lot.
Yeah, so I've been around a little bit. And even when I lived in DR, I lived in the capital, and then I lived in the countryside. So it's been a bit of a... But I'd say that, where I grew up at, when I have to answer that specifically, I like to say West New York.
West New York?
Yeah, because West New York...
That's what you're claiming.
Yeah, because, West New York was my teen years, right? And I think that's where I got a lot of experiences that kind of formed who I am today.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Living on 60th and living in a basement, probably at the size of this studio, maybe a bit smaller.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, from struggling with food, to then being able to be part of a team, to going to college. You know what I mean? I think West New York kind of really gave me like an experience that was just crazy. And I think when they tell me like, yo, where did you grow up at? So I think I did a lot of growing in West New York. So that's why I say West New York.
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
Cool. So Dominican from West New York. Okay. So how did you get into the whole club party scene type?
Well, here's the thing, right? So I think a lot of people are gonna agree with me on this, right? I think Dominicans have an energy of very high level and very like estamos en coro, let's chill and whatnot, right?
Correct.
So
I agree with that.
Right. So when I was in college, I joined the fraternity, Lamp Theta Phi, Lamp Fraternity Incorporated.
What college you went to? What college you went to?
Rampo College.
Rampo. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Rampo College. Yeah, up north. I joined the fraternity, and
how was that?
It's an amazing experience.
What was your what do you call it when you gotta try to join? Like you gotta do something.
The initiation, the pledging.
Yeah. So what you do? What you have to do?
So listen to me. You know what I mean?
Was
like
it bad?
You know what I mean? I think it's mental, man. It's mental. It's all mental.
But they have like weird stuff, like I want to skirt for a week or.
Oh no! We don't do none of that. Yeah, we don't do none of that bullshit. But you know, I think.
Steer me away from the college and the
no, listen to me, you know. But you know what it is, you know what I mean? I think that's the public perception that fraternity and sorority life have.
They
right. So like, because think about it, when you're not in college, what's the only fraternity you know? American Pie, American Pie 2. Movies. You know what I mean? The movies. And to be honest, listen to me. What a movie's supposed to do is sell you an experience that sounds crazy. So a lot of things are exaggerated.
Brainwashing.
Is there a lot of things in there that are true? Yes, they are. Right. But I also think that you know the fraternity and sorority life provided me. With a level of professionalism that college didn't give me, that high school didn't give me, that professors didn't give me. Wow. Because, you know, it's what you make out of it. It's that simple. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could be part of a DJ crew, my nigga, but if you're not putting work on the street, you're not gonna get booked. Yeah. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
So when you talk about the frat, right? Anybody could join a frat, but but what do you do inside of it? You know? And I just became.
What you do, what they do for you.
Listen to me. I don't do things to get something out of it.
Right.
I do things because I want to do them.
Correct.
Right. So when I became part of the fraternity, it was because I felt that there was nowhere in that school where I felt comfortable besides there. To be honest, Rampo is a white school.
Yes.
Where a person of color is gonna feel like pointed out from a mile away.
Yes.
Rampo was the first time in the history of Negrosparty's life that I found out that I had an accent in English. I looked at her like, yo, this bitch crazy. She's telling me I got an accent in English? In my head, I'm like, yo, I speak perfect English. So, once Lambda came around, I was capable of, becoming part of them. And once I became part of them, community service was always something that I liked doing. Okay. Right? Yeah. It was exactly. I like the kids. So, anything that had to do with kids, I was down. And to be honest, I became a bit obsessed with it, yo. So it got to the point that I was skipping class to go to community service. Like, that's how bad it was. Really? Yeah, man. I loved community service. Because you know what it was? I felt like it was just so rewarding, like emotionally rewarding. Right? That I was just kind of like, man, yo, listen to me. I'm about to go hear this professor talk shit about, X, Y's, and C's. Like, man, come on, bro. I'm like, I'll skip that chapter. I already know that chapter, And in being involved with the fraternity and you kind of bringing that party life around, one of my fraternity brothers kind of offered the idea. I'm like, yo, you want to be a promoter? And I looked at him and I'm like, yo, what's a promoter? And he looked at me like, you don't know what a promoter is? And I'm like, no, I don't know what a promoter is. Shout out to Rudy. So he offered me, hey, listen, you want to be a promoter? And that's basically where it started, bro.
And what did you promote?
So here's the thing, right? So I didn't want to. At the beginning, I said no because I just. You know how people who are very skeptical about things. I'm the same, bro. Anything that I don't know, I'm skeptical about it. I'm just like, nah. So the first time he came around, he told me and my boy Danny to be promoters, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm not doing this shit. Second time around, no había ni un peso en los bolsillos míos. Ya los ramen noodle soups se estaban acabando. So, you know what I mean? So at this point, my mom was in a financial situation where, me being in college was becoming a burden, yeah. So that at this point I was like, yo, bro, listen to me, yo, what is this promoting thing? And And so he goes like, yo, listen, negro, you don't. So
why did he feel that you could be able to do this?
Because I was so social. I've always been.
What did he see in you?
To be honest, I had to be social because I was the type of person that I'll friend anybody. Like I saw you, yo, man, exacto. So very friendly. So we had like the mixers with the frats and the sororities and shit, and he was like, yo, man, like you good with inviting people out. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, yeah, because I want to party, like duh, right? To me, it was just common sense, like, duh, nigga, like I want to party, I want to make sure everybody's there. So he goes like, no, listen, you could do this promoting thing. And I'm like, yo, listen to me, yo no tengo ni un peso encima. I'm broke as shit. I'm talking like yo, and when I'm saying this ramen noodle thing, I'm literally saying like I probably had like a good 5 ramen noodles left in my room. My mom didn't have a dime,
right?
So like it wasn't like I could go ask her for money. Like I used to have to take a train from Mawa to New York to then take an IMI bus to go to Western New York so I could get home. So I was like, yeah, I wasn't in a position to do that. So he goes like, listen to me, you're not gonna lose a dime. If we make profit, we split 50-50.
Okay.
And I remember my first party was at Santana Lounge in Patterson. You know where the TD Bank is?
I'm not too familiar with Patterson.
Well, anybody who knows Patterson, there's a TD Bank right there on, I think is Market Street. There was a TD Bank there. Across the street there's a liquor store. In that liquor store, there was a room in the back.
Oh shit, that's some real Dominican shit.
Yeah. Lo teteo, yeah.
Oh shit.
So it was a liquor store in the front and it was a club in the back.
Wow.
And that was my first party. And I remember this like it was yesterday. Yo, I made $60. And I looked at him and I was like, yo, so you're telling me I come to party,
get drunk,
I get girls, drink for free, smoke for free, and I get paid? I was like, yo, forget it. You got me. There's nothing else I can say. You got me. That's it. What?
Shit.
So at that point, you know, I started promoting, and then at the beginning, you know, it was just kind of like I was just doing it for like the, you know, just the party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nothing serious.
Exactly. You know, and I got paid a little bit, so it kind of took the relief off my mom. But then, you know, then we went on to what was Metropolis Thursday. Metropolis Thursday was like iconic for us, yo.
Where was that at?
Right there on Passaic Avenue.
That's awesome, man.
Not Passaic, in Passaic and on Main Avenue.
Okay.
It's not there anymore. It was used to be in front of Cachapa Loca. You know Cachapa Locas? That's about.
No.
You know where Mama Sushi in Passaic is?
Right.
All right, 2 blocks down.
Okay.
2 blocks down.
Gotcha.
And yo, Metropolis Thursdays was just so much fun, and that's when I really started kind of seeing a bit more of money. Yeah. It got to the point that my mom thought I was selling drugs.
Really?
Because I mean, just think about it. My mom has to work 40 hours a week to make $400, right?
Right.
And I'm showing up home with $800 in a night.
Uh-huh.
So now she looking at me like, yo, where you getting? And then on top of that, they're all in 5s and 10s. So she looking at me like, where you getting this money from?
Yeah, not the next.
so I'm like, oh, from promoting. And she's like, nah, you're not gonna bullshit me that you're getting this shit from promoting.
She didn't believe it.
She wouldn't believe it. So I had to take my mom to the party, be like, yo, look, this is what goes down.
To the party.
Hell yeah, I brought her to the party. So I brought my mom to the party, and then porque la mamá mía, yo, my nigga, this bitch is crazy. So in the middle of the party, she goes like, "Ustedes lo que son unos malditos ladrones," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, yo, she was so like mind blown at the fact that we were charging people to come in, and like and they were paying it. Cause yo, we were charging people $20 to come in, and she's like, "Yeah, crazy," and I'm like, "No, mommy, like this is what we do," and she like, "No, yeah, a bunch of fucking thieves. Like, how dare ya be like?" And I was just kind of like, "No, well, this is how I'm making the money." So yeah, it was.
When the spot is high, you know, you can do what you want.
So yeah, it was.
They're gonna pay it.
Yeah, and they're gonna pay it. They will pay. They will pay
it with no problem.
So fuck, where were we going with this? We were going somewhere with this.
Basically, from when you started promoting. You from college to promoting.
Yeah, college to promoting. All right, and then while being in promoting, the same so Hitman Entertainment started with Rudy and Julio, right? They're both my fraternity brothers. Rudy was the one who got me into the promoting, and then Julio was more like, yo, like you should get on the mic, and I was just kind of like.
Also, this is you going into to your hosting.
Yeah. So then I was.
And you had the personality for it.
Yeah, but I wasn't too fan of the mic though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really call my attention. But because the thing is, this is my thing, right? I've always had a good ear for when shit sounds corny and it doesn't, right? so and me judging myself, like the first time I grabbed the mic, I'm like, yo, I sound like a fucking cornball on this shit.
Everybody hates their voice.
So I was like, you know what? This might not be it. But you know, it got to a point where it just became an expectation. Like, Negro, we need you on the mic. Negro, we need you on the mic. Oh, we gotta switch DJs. Negro, we need you on the mic.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of like, all right, cool. I need to sound cool when I go up there. Like, you know what I mean? So then I would prepare like lines to say when people were switching, right?
Right.
And I would remember all the lines that people would react to, like good to, right? Obviously, like, you know, like all the basic shit.
Yeah.
But but I took this shit like homework, nigga. I started writing all this shit down. I'm dead serious.
That's how you study your craft, though, really.
So then after I was kind of like, yo, everybody says it now. I want to become like creative, like. And I remember the first line that I tried was if you're from Jersey, let me hear you one time, right? But if you live, because you remember Jersey Shore?
Right.
But if you watch Jersey Shore, I need you to get wild. That was the first time that I came up. That, oh my God, what? Just imagine everybody in college. Jersey Shore was the fucking shit.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Jersey Shore and it was the Heights.
World?
No, the Heights.
Yeah,
the Heights.
Okay.
So I combined all 3 lines, and I saw everybody like
the reaction. Isn't it amazing, the reaction?
I think I've lost a bit of the thrill just because I get it so often now.
Yeah,
I get it so often now, right? But that first day, I remember
that energy is crazy.
I saw it and I was like, alright, cool, I got something here. I got something here, right?
Yeah, man.
So after that, you know, I always try to come up with lines. Actually, till this day, actually, the first time I say it on something recording. That line with my ex just walked into the building. Right? And they played Te, I made that. I don't care what anybody says. I made that. So if you hear any other DJs out there saying it, just let them know, be like, yo, make sure to add Negro.
Tag them.
Exactly. So then, after that ability of, being rocking in parties and whatnot, and then teaching. All in between there, I had done radio at Ramble, right? 90.3 WRPR 90.3.
Okay.
Right? So
and that was the station after the college?
At the college, yeah, I did it. But I did it more like fun, like once again, you know what I mean? I think I've been able to be surrounded by people who see a lot of talent in me.
You and
they see talent in me when I don't see it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
so Rory invites me to be the DJ for her radio show, right? It was called Don't Get It Twisted, with DJ Negro and Rory.
And you was actually DJing or you was just a host?
No, manito, yo ponía música y le daba next. Yo era muy de DJ.
On iPod.
Yeah. But once again, and I see videos now, like there's a video of me like I'm playing a salsa and you can see me like I'm going in, like I'm pretending like I'm on the piano, but I'm not. But you could tell like, oh, this nigga's having a ball right now, right? So, then I do WRPR, and then after WRPR I graduate, and then I do tumbaradio.com with Tumba La Casa. And it was more like, at that point, it was more like, okay, I have a talent in this radio thing, right? Because you know what it was?
Calling.
Yeah, but here's the crazy thing, right?
But like you said before, the beginning, I don't cut you off, but that was your original passion.
But you know what it is? I think I knew it was a passion that I had, but I didn't have knowledge enough to know how can I make this something that I can live from, right? Because to me, it just, So
in college, what you take in college?
I did Spanish language studies, minors in mathematics, and psychology.
Well, psychology is a good one, but none of them was towards your
exactly. But once again, I think it's because
that happens a lot. A lot of people go to college.
Listen to me, and once again, and some people are gonna say I sound retarded for this. I don't think an 18-year-old should be making a lifetime decision.
No. I
don't think a 22-year-old should be making a lifetime decision.
No.
Because the reality is, you still don't know who you are. You just recently
absolutely not.
You just recently left the nest of your parents.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You just recently started living.
I don't think they should go to prison.
Me neither.
They're still mentally young as hell.
You don't know. You don't know. So you know what I mean? So like I didn't know anything, right? And it's funny because I had a guidance counselor at William Patterson University. I was hosting an event for LTO, one of the sororities there, and as I'm hosting, the counselor comes up to me. She's like, I don't care what you're studying or what you're doing, but you need to go into broadcasting, right? And then in my head, I looked at him like, yo, you're fucking stupid. You're stupid. I'm a junior about to graduate, and you're telling me I gotta get the fuck out of my face. But once again, it was also the lack of exactly like I told you, right? And I think that's the one thing I've been blessed with. I've been blessed with people who have been able to see talent in me when I haven't been able to do it. So after that, I end up going to working at Ftvradio. From Ftvradio, I teach. After I teach, I have the epiphany with the kids. And after that, one of the DJ that I manage, DJ Boom, hits me up and he goes like, yo, there's an opening at Mega. And it goes to, and this, to be honest, the funny thing about this is the first time my mom has ever questioned me. My mom has never ever...
About your career path?
No, about anything. About anything. My mom has never questioned me. Anything I do, my mom has... Lo que usted dice, sí, vamos, eso es lo que tú quieres, hazlo. And that day, I told my mom, I am gonna leave teaching to go into radio. And her response was like, so entonces tú gastaste 2 años en la escuela para ir a vocear en la radio. And to be honest, it was almost like a real shock to me that one, that she challenged me, my decision, right? But two, at the same time, is like, I'm definitely doing something different that it doesn't abide what she believed in, right? And listen to me, I think it's a tough decision to make, right? I think I was able to make it because I didn't have responsibilities, right? It was just me. I've been living by myself since I was 21, so it didn't really matter. I went from a salary job, you know, I was getting paid like, I think it was like 15, 16 every 2 weeks, to getting paid $12 an hour. My mom said, you're fucking crazy. I think a lot of people would think you're fucking crazy, right? Pension, fucking insurance, everything set. But I think the one thing that my mom did teach me that you know how I said I have people who see talent in me.
Right.
I think one of the things that my mom, you know, subconsciously has always taught us, but didn't really abide by herself, was that our happiness comes first. Correct. Right? She always taught us that, right? And I think
you can be rich, not happy.
Exactly. So, you know, I think later on in her years, she started living that. So now, you know, when people ask me like, yo, what do you want to do? I'm like, yo, it's radio. If it's not radio, I'm not there. It's coming second. I've always said, if it's not radio, it's coming second. You know, so like I do a lot of like, you know, YouTubes, and I do like the podcast and whatnot, but there's something about podcast and radio that just brings me happiness. Having the ability to interact with people, having the ability to listen to people's stories, having the ability of, you know, have like dialogues on certain subjects and where we might not agree.
Let me ask you, what do you like more, radio or clubs?
Oh, radio, hands down, nigga. Because here's the thing, right? I'm more successful in the clubs.
Right.
Now, my name is Negrosparty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm more successful in the clubs. But the reality is that when you talk about waking up, being happy with what you do, it's radio for me. Like, because I listen to me. I've been promoting for 21, so going on to 11, 10 years. Wow. You know what I mean? But there's, you know, and listen to me. As much as I love nightlife could really take you to dark places. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And you know what I mean? I was listen, after I got fired from Mega, I was in a real dark spot. I was in a real dark spot, and promoting was not helping at all. Cause let me check who's on the line. But all I did was drink, fuck, and sleep. That's all I did. And look, I went 3 days without seeing sunlight.
Cause you was just up all night.
Cause I was up all night and I would sleep all day. Up all night, sleep all day. Up all night, sleep all day. And I was drinking. Listen to me. I went from weighing 136 to weighing 240 in the matter of maybe like 4 months, 6 months.
That's that lifestyle.
And you know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? As much as I love nightlife, I also know like that nightlife could take you to places where can't come back up.
If you're not mentally strong and disciplined, it could really fuck you up.
For sure.
Really, really, really.
Because you know, listen to me. There's a lot of temptations in the nightlife world.
Correct.
From all ranges, right? You either want to talk about alcohol, you want to talk about sex, you want to talk about drugs. They got it all for you, and it's like a dispensary.
And they come hand in hand.
Yeah, and it's a dispensary. It's like which one do you want?
Pick one.
2 for 1. You want 2 for 1? You want the girl and the alcohol, right? Or do you want the girl and the drugs? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you know it's tough when someone is not mentally strong enough to kind of stand their ground in some spot.
And be disciplined and experiment.
Listen to me, I get offered drugs on daily. Like, yo, you want a bump? Yo, you want this? You want this pill? And you know, I'm strong enough to be like, nah, I'm good, bro. Like, tú eres mío, todo I need, I bump you, but I'm good though. I'm good though.
Straight.
You know what I mean? I'm straight. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? I think, you know, nightlife, as great as it's been to me, I also know that nightlife could be like the downfall, you know.
It can hurt you.
But you know what I mean, I think it's also the reason why I was able to find my passion. So, you know, I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for, you know, the harsh times that has taken me out of, right? Because there's been times where my bank account has been negative and I've put all my chips in one party. And
all eggs in one basket.
No, I didn't have any eggs. So I didn't have any eggs. I didn't have any eggs. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yo, listen to me. This is it. You know what I mean? If this party flops, well, it's about to be a month. It was about to be a month starving. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So some of these parties have definitely taken me out of some financial situations that, you know what I mean? You know, listen to me. While I was promoting and teaching, there was still times when I was making more money promoting than teaching. We did it all. So what happened is that when I came back, I had my birthday party set up. So I was like, so I didn't really care. I'm like, nah, it don't matter how much I spend. I'm gonna make that right back for my birthday.
Yeah.
Well then, Corona had a different plan for me. So now, exactly. So you know what I mean. So that was really my thing. That I did what I did always do. You know what I mean. I party, spend it. Right. I mean, I got a party coming up, and I'm gonna fix it for you. But I do think I'm thankful enough to say that, for the most part, promoting has definitely placed me in a situation to succeed, and definitely take me out of a lot of financial strains.
So, you said you're using Omega. Tell me about that situation.
So Boom got me into Omega, right? And then a funny story about how the way I got in, right? So, when I'm teaching, right? I applied to Mega, I applied to Mega, and I
submitted. You gotta apply, like
yeah, you gotta apply, yeah. Okay. So I apply, whatever. We go to the interview, and then they say, oh, we're gonna let you know, and then I get an email that says that we're gonna hit you up for orientation. In my head, I'm thinking, you're hired, right? And listen to me, maybe this is me, right? I'm like. Anytime somebody tells me you're going to orientation, it's because we're going to orient you so you can know what the workplace looks like.
Right.
That's my thought process. Right? So I'm
That's your first step in the door.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm good. Yo, my 2 weeks, I'm out.
You give your 2 weeks?
Gave my 2 weeks like this on the heart. All right.
Oh my God.
So I get my 2 weeks in, right? And then I'm waiting on Mega to like, yo, when is this orientation going to happen?
Oh,
a week passes by, no response. Another week passes by, no response. So now I'm a little shaky, but I'm good though. So yo Boom, ¿qué lo que con la menor? Yo, when is this orientation? He's like, I got you, let me hit her up. No response. At this point now I'm a bit more like, shook. So I'm like, you know what, Negro, let's send a nice, demanding professional email. Right.
What's going on? ¿Qué lo que?
Claro. Hey, what's going on, Kimberly? I know you sent me for orientation. I was wondering when this orientation is gonna be. I already put my 2 weeks in for work. I'm just waiting on you guys when this is gonna happen. Marito, ya me han mandado un email diciendo que ella no me dije nada de ningún trabajo. Ay, Dios. Bro, so now I'm like, fuck. I put in my 2 weeks for my job.
Damn.
Right? Now Mega's telling me that they're not hiring me. I'm like, oh God. And then so now I'm listening to my mom. My mom said, like, so at this point I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let's gamble it. So she goes like, listen, the best I could do for you is give you an interview with my boss. And I was like, that's it. That's all I need. And like, this one thing I've been cocky about is like interviews. I love interviews. Like I love interviews. Like I have.
You know your personality.
Like listen to me. The last interview I missed was when I was in college my freshman year. That was the last interview I missed. I haven't missed an interview after that. So I go in there with all of it. So, and I remember this very clearly. One of the questions that she asked me was that, what did I think promotions was, right? Y manito, yo nunca he dado una respuesta más buena en mi vida. Porque le di fue por ahí que le di. So here's the thing, right? So while we're in the interview, her boss is here, she's talking to me, right? This guy's on his computer, he's not even paying attention to me. Right? So she asks that question. So when she asks that question, I'm like, oh, well, it depends what portion of promotion you're talking about.
Right.
If you're going to speak about the person who's carrying the boxes to bring up the table, to set up the cloth, to put up the speakers, that's a portion of it. Are you going to talk about the one who does the budget, the one that's going to handle what's the cost of everything, what money goes to what goes to that? Are you talking about distribution, right? Who's going to do the digital, who's going to do the flyers, And this guy went from this to, where have you worked before? And I'm like, nah, I've been a promoter for like 6-7 years. So then he's like, oh, who have you worked with? And I'm like, well, in New Jersey or New York? He's like, who have you worked with in New York? And I'm like, oh, in New York that you probably know of? Nate Sketchy, McGuffin Boys. He's like, oh, okay. That was a good answer. And then he went back to his computer. In my head, I'm like, bagged. I got him. Listen, I'm talking to you like, this guy was not paying, Cartagena's funny. He's a funny guy though. He wasn't paying attention to me. He was just in his computer doing his job. And at that point, before we leave, she gives me a script and goes like, hey, listen, I need you to read this, right? Because one of the problems that we're having with is that most of the people that come here and want to work here, they can't, fluently speak Spanish. And I go,
on Omega?
Yeah. because everybody wants to be Omega, you know what I mean? Because it's embedded into the Hispanic culture.
Right.
Everybody wants to be there, but not necessarily have the ability to speak perfect English, right? But then speak perfect Spanish. Exactly. Right. But then on top of that, to read it, because you can speak it, but can you read it?
Yeah.
So I was
in Spanish.
Yeah. So, but in my head, I'm like, bagged, nigga. I went to school in DR. I went to 8th grade in the DR. I'm good. Yeah. Bro, I have never messed up so bad in my life. So it was two segments. It was the first segment on top, and there was a short one too. I messed it up. I chopped up the words. I cut the S's and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, fuck. And then in my second one, I'm like, yo, negro, chill the fuck out. Just pretend like you're in the club and read. And the second one was like a perfect club commercial. It's like, oh, no se olviden que el sábado 24 de diciembre, ya les enseño va a estar en esta discoteca, tal hora. No se olviden mandar la palabra. Yo, and I read it, and then I saw her eyes like, okay, we got one. And after that, man, I went to Mega. I worked at Mega for like a year and change. Great experience. Towards the end,
so was you at your own show on?
No. I was in promotion. This is all for promotion. This wasn't even for a show. This is all for promotion. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? So I think a lot of people, when they think about you work for Mega, it's automatically, oh, you're on air. There's a lot of other components behind it.
Behind the scenes,
right? Exactly. So I went from being promotions to then being one of the people who were on the streets asking the questions, which for me was an amazing.
Using like the street scene.
Yeah, street scene. But here's the thing, right? Because there's a difference between like doing the promotions on the street, but to me, to become the person who was on the street doing the videos for them, to me that was huge.
Yeah.
Because I felt I was like one step close to where I want to be at. Right. So then I started doing a lot of things was like they would have certain questions from the radio to come to the streets. But in my head, I'm like, yo, these questions don't translate so much to interacting with people on the streets.
You do it your way.
So then I started.
Your little space to it.
So then I started doing riddles, and riddles became my thing. So then I started doing riddles but it was also like, yo, how can I make riddles fun where like the show still likes them, right?
Yeah.
And people still kind of gets interaction, but at the same time we still get the comments on Instagram, like, sure, I'm getting it. So then what I started doing was I started doing riddles, but riddles that sounded very perverted but were clean, right? So example, there was one like, oh, it has hair on top, hair on the bottom, and it's nice and moist in the middle, right? So everybody was just on like, yo, are you crazy? You can't be asking that. And I'm like, yo, yes I can. And people look at me like, yo, you bugging out. You can't be asking that. I'm like, yes I can. Listen, there's hair on top, there's hair on the bottom, and right in between is nice and moist. So people are like, yo, you're bugging out, negro. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the eye. So now, so people looked at me like, oh, this motherfucker, bro. So you see what I'm getting at? So to me, when once Mega gave me the opportunity to become that person, I was like, yes. And then Kim was like, yo, now we have this person here. I need you to come interview them. To me, that was like, bro, I've never been so excited in my life. Never been so excited in my life.
You found your happiness.
Yeah. So and that was the one thing that I would agree when I was at Mega. When I was at Mega, I was high on life. I have never been so happy in my life.
That was the happiness.
You know what I mean?
You were telling your kids about.
So after all that, I would work ridiculous amount of hours, and I remember this day like it was yesterday. I worked 23 hours straight.
Ooh.
From 5 o'clock in the morning to 4 a.m. the next day.
Damn.
But it all became worth it when Farruko posted my interview. I was like, yo, listen to me. Yo, besides the fact that I worked 23 hours, right? I was with Farruko's team the entire day. Yo le busqué el desayuno, la comida, la cena, la ropa, la pelcha, everything. Anything you could think of, it was Negro. And right before he goes on stage, everybody's interviewing him, and then something inside me was like, damn, yo, I was here all day with this nigga, and all these niggas gonna interview him but me.
Fuck that, I need my shit.
And at one point I was like, you know what? Because at this point, in Mega, you need to ask for everything. You need to ask. Well, you should ask, right? Some of them are gonna tell you, "Di que a la cosa y después pide perdón," right? And this is where that comes, right? Because that was something that if it wasn't El Compi, it was Chubby Chew who told me that.
He worked there too, right?
Yeah. A la cosa y después pide perdón, right?
Chubby Chew is a good dude.
And at that moment, I was just kind of like, you know what? There's no way that I've been with him all day and I'm not gonna interview him. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
And so then, once all the interviews are done, his security takes him. Robocó. I remember like it was yesterday. I go up to Robocó and Robocó, you think I could ask him a few questions? He's like, pero negro, claro. Some black dude. He's like, yo, negro, claro. Yo, father, negro, need to ask you a question. He's like, oh, sure, for sure. And what I noticed was, and this is what really also like brought me like happiness, was that he had such a artist persona in everybody else's interview. But when I did the interview to him, it felt like it was like two friends having a conversation.
Talking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, once that happened, and, you know, I think I just worked 23 hours. I went home, knocked the fuck out. I wake up, and my phone is blasted. I got 30 missed calls. I got a bunch of messages, and I'm wondering, like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then I see that the 30 calls are coming from my boss.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay, I'm fired. I'm done. It's over for me. It's over. I'm like... And I called her scared as shit. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, did you see what happened? And el corazón se me cayó. And she goes like, yo, Farruko reposted your interview.
Oh.
Yo, listen to me. I went from like scared as shit to like the happiest guy on earth. But you know what I mean? And like, and it was just simple things like that I just enjoyed every single time out, you know, that I worked. You know, and I think that's really what I always push to people, right? Find something that when you do it, it brings you happiness.
And you
right?
feel like you're working.
And that's the thing. I never listened to me. I was working like about 40 plus, 50 plus hours a week. And then to me, it felt like it was just another regular thing that I was doing. You know? Yeah. So, you know, my time unfortunately comes to an end at Mega in a year.
You're on your end or on their end?
Well, I get fired. Honestly, I get fired. And it was, I think it was more of a misunderstanding on
the Poppy's world.
I think it was a communication on expectations. Right? I think on my end, right, I take a certain amount of blame for it. I'm the type of person that sometimes I like to pick battles that aren't my battles, right? But if I see something that I don't feel like is fair, I'm gonna voice my opinion. Right. I'm gonna voice my opinion, and something that I learned in radio is sometimes you need to shut the fuck up.
That's a bad part. That's part.
No, but you know what it is. But you know what it is. It's just part of the game, bro. There's sometimes sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up. And to be honest, I was new in. Listen to me. I was new in the game. I didn't even know how radio worked, right? And I just voiced my opinion on a few subjects that I probably shouldn't have.
Read it, or do you feel like, it's part of your path?
I know, hell no. I love that it happened because I learned from it, right? So, but I also saw that. Listen to me. I saw how empty my life felt once I didn't have radio, and that's what I was saying about that dark side about like being part of the nightlife. I went 6 months where I was just drinking, fucking, and partying. That's all I was doing. You know. So when I got fired from Mega, I think I left. I got fired, but I also left on a good note. Because there was a huge concert and a huge event the day after I get fired. I'm sorry, the day before I get fired. And I killed it on both events, and the bosses were like, yo, you're doing really good. And then when they found out I was leaving, it was like, damn, we're getting rid of him? So you see what I'm getting at? Like, I feel like I still left like a stamp, like, damn, Negro's still valid. So then 6 months later, I get a call to run the social medias at La X. So
the X is a different station from Mega.
Yes, X is a different station from Mega. So SBS is the owner of Mega 97.9 and Amor, right? Okay. That's the owner. That's SBS here in the New York area. And then X is what used to be La Calle.
That's what I was going to ask you, La Calle.
La Calle.
Raymond de La Calle?
Yeah, Raymond de La Calle, AJ Callejero, and shout out to AJ.
Came from there, Steph La Callejero came from there.
Yeah, a lot of people came out from there. The twins came out from there.
I thought it was the same.
No. And shout out to AJ because AJ was one of the first individuals who also saw like my radio talent. I was his intern. I was managing his website for a very long time, and I think that's one of the opportunities that I actually didn't take full advantage of. Once again, because I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. I wanted to see like being in the booth and doing the programming. You know what I mean? And he had me like handling like the website with like articles and like bringing in traffic. But I also didn't see the importance in it and like the importance of views, the importance of click. I wasn't seeing that because I didn't care. You know what I mean? All I wanted was like, yo, give me a mic. That's what I want to see, right? Okay. But there's definitely one of the opportunities that I didn't take fully advantage of. But working with AJ, I learned a lot. And to this day, bro, anytime I have a question or every time I have like a big interview, I hit up AJ. I'm like, yo, look, I got this coming up. Yo, how should I attack it? How should I do it? So he's definitely one of the guys who's definitely like helped me a lot. And actually, I think also like just for like interviews, like when I went for my interview for Icky's, I put AJ on my resume. Yeah. I put I put everything, and then at the bottom I have an others, and I have like, I have this award, and then I put I was like mentorship under AJ Callejero. Like that's in my resume, and I would never take it away. You know what I mean? And that also just brings up the question, like, oh shit, you worked with AJ? Yes, I worked with AJ.
And
you know what I mean?
They know who he is.
Because they know who he is, they also know his work ethic. So like, he has worked at Univision, you know what? So like, he's also a valid connection to them. It's more like, yo, AJ, who's this nigga negro?
Right.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And if that call ever happens, I know I'm gonna be good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I also, it's kind of like, I learned a lot. So I'm capable of also articulating, the things that I learned under him, whether it was, asking people for questions to survey, to, use later as data to understand, hey, this is the type of people that we're attacking.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I
mean?
The market. You know what I mean? So whether it was, website, how do you post an article? How do you put the right tags? You know what I mean? What thumbnail? I think these are things that I also learned under him that I learned, but I didn't put so much value into it because I didn't know the value that these things have when you're talking about a radio scale like X. You know what I'm getting at? I just thought about it. All right, cool. This is what you want me to do. I'm gonna get done. That's it. So I think that's one of the great things about being able to be surrounded by people who really see the potential in you.
You had a very eventful history leading up to this point. Okay, all that led to here now. Where you at now? Where you at now? Now, what do you do?
Okay.
And tell me about yourself now.
I think now, I wanna ideally I wanna be on radio, have my own morning show. That's what I want. That's what I want. But I also am aware that that route to get there, it's pretty long. It's pretty long to get there.
Think so?
Yes.
I think
yo, listen to me.
about halfway there.
But see, but then again, remember what I was telling you, right? I think a lot of people have seen potential in me that I don't see in myself, right? And I'm very particular about this one because, I feel like there's so much more that I could do that I have not done yet.
Right.
So that's why I also think that my path to get there may not be as close as it is, but I'm also
as far as it is either.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know what I mean? What is it? Don't quit. There's a poem that being part of my fraternity taught me that it says something down the line like you never and he never knew how close he was to the golden crown, right? And it always reminds me of that meme of that guy who's like picking
by the diamond
with the diamond, right?
He's giving up.
And he's giving up, but he's so close. But he sees somebody else get to the diamond.
Yeah.
But they only had one diamond on their end.
Right.
I relate a lot to that because sometimes it's kind of like as far as I think that I am from my goal, you know what I mean? Sometimes I see someone reach them and they kind of and I don't want to say que envidioso or jealous of it, but it's almost like, damn, I'm working, I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's frustrating.
Yeah,
so
it's very frustrating.
But I think it also, gives me the opportunity to know that, I want something and I'm willing, to put the work in that it takes to get there. So I think, having my own radio show is part of it. Because they also
promote your show. Promote your show.
Well, I have my own podcast, which I haven't ran in a while. Al Oscuro with Negrosparty is a more sexual education and trending topics. But I also have my YouTube channel that right now our traction is coming along from our reaction channels.
Okay.
But we also have interviews with artists. We have actually just about to start a freestyle segment that we already recorded. And we're about to start another segment that's gonna focus more on funny interaction with your friends and whatnot. So we're really trying to do a lot. We're really trying to encompass what Al Oscuro TV stands for, right? And providing people a platform to have fun, but also to grow as as artists or as professionals in the field. But that's basically it. I think that's right now. Those are my goals. Get my own radio show and make sure my YouTube channel just pops.
Word. And how's the nightlife treating you? Are you still promoting? Or are you still?
Oye, manito, once again, you remember how I told you before that the nightlife was taking me out of the financial restraint?
Yeah.
Nightlife once again with the save. Once again with the save. And right now I'm capable, to make my ends meet. I haven't worked in a year. I haven't worked in a year. I haven't worked since last March. And because of nightlife, I've been able to. I've been able to make my ends meet. I've been able to pay rent. You know what I mean? I think this was the first month that I paid rent 3 days late. out of an entire year,
Wow.
thanks to promoting. So I can't complain. Oh, y los chequecitos que mandó el gobierno, right? The little stimmy checks that we got in between.
Those stimmies.
Yeah, and the little 300 and stuff. You know what I mean? Those also help.
Those definitely help.
So,
Shit.
but I think promoting once again has definitely put that save button in my life where it's kind of like,
Of course,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Hey, Negro, how much you need for rent? Oh, cool, I got you. So I'm blessed.